Problem 8. So in this problem, an ant, a snail and a lizard have a race. They all head northwards with speeds. So here's our ant. The ant is equal to 6.56 millimeters per second, which is equal to 6.56 times 10 to the minus 3 meters per second. And then the snail goes with a slightly higher velocity of 0.13 meters per second, and the lizard is quite speedy with a velocity of 0.500 meters per second. And in part A, we're asked what is the velocity of the ant relative to the lizard. So the velocity of the ant relative to the lizard is equal to the velocity of the ant minus the velocity of the lizard. And so this is equal to 6.56 times 10 to the minus 3 minus the velocity of the lizard, which is 0.500. Solving this on the calculator, we get minus 0.493 meters per second. So this negative means south. So this is equal to 0.493 meters per second south. So if you were the lizard, it looks like the ant is moving away from you in the negative direction, the direction opposite to what you're actually traveling. Part B, we're asked what is the velocity of the lizard relative to the snail. So the velocity of the lizard relative to the snail, so that's equal to the velocity of the lizard minus the velocity of the snail. So now we imagine that we're the snail, and what would the lizard look like? It would look like the lizard was getting further and further away from us, but in front, so we'd expect this to be in the north direction. So the velocity of the lizard is 0.500. The velocity of the snail is 0.130. And so solving this on the calculator, we get 0.370 meters per second. And as it's positive, it's in the north direction. And then finally, part C. We're asked, what is the velocity of the ant relative to the snail? So the velocity of the ant relative to the snail. So while if we were the snail, it looks like the lizard is getting further and further ahead, it would look like the ant was getting further and further behind. So we'd expect this one to be in the south direction again. So we've got the velocity of the ant is 6.56 times 10 to the minus 3 minus 0.130. And solving that, we get minus 0.123 meters per second, which we can say is 0.123 meters per second south.